When you have a big story as a journalist, you don't need to hype it. You don't need to pump it up. You don't need bells and whistles and alarms. You just need to tell the story, as much of the story as you can find out. Now, there is absolutely no question that President Trump's abrupt decision to fire James Comey is a very, very big story. So I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, it's being overcovered. I mean, it has absolutely been like a neutron bomb in Washington, raising all kinds of questions about why now and what was the president's motivation and was it related to the Russia probe, and hadn't he praised Comey for his handling of the Hillary Clinton email investigation back last October? Who will be the new FBI director? Will there be a special prosecutor? All of those questions need to be pursued and are being pursued by all kinds of news organizations. But I got to tell you, I mean, not only has this thing gone to DEFCON 1, but there are a number of journalists and commentators and news organizations that really are having a hard time sort of suppressing their outrage, making clear that they think this is what Trump did is really, really bad. Every administration official who has gone on TV has gotten absolutely hammered. And I'm all in favor of aggressive interviews. But there comes a point where it looks like the people on our side of the camera might have a bit of an agenda. Look at some of the words that are being tossed around about this. And this is newspapers and websites calling it a coup. Okay, the president does have the authority to fire the FBI director. Whether it was justified or not remains to be seen. Whether or not the FBI can now be counted on to continue this investigation. Should there be a special prosecutor? All legitimate questions. But it's not a coup. It's not a grotesque abuse of power. It is not, what really set the tone of the day on CNN. This was 5 o'clock in the morning. The anchor comes on and says, breaking news. The bedrock of our democracy under siege. Okay, when you see loaded language like that, when you see things being described in apocalyptic terms, then you know that somebody's putting their thumb on the scale. Because there's no need on a story like this. It is such a dramatic story as it is. It's only happened once before, and of course that's the other part of the media narrative. Trump is Richard Nixon, Saturday Night Massacre, 44 years ago, firing Archibald Cox, the special prosecutor. Of course, Cox was there. This is not to defend the firing. I'm not taking a position on that. But Cox had one job, and that was to investigate what the president and his aides knew and when they knew it with regard to the crimes of Watergate. The director of the FBI has lots of things going on. One of them was this Russia probe, which may in the end lead nowhere, or it might not. We don't know the answer to that question. So as the president and his top spokesman say, well, he lost confidence in Comey, and it's all because it was the tipping point was the memo from the Deputy Attorney General. I think it's fair to question that. I mean, there are so many threads to this story that one thing you have to say, it's going to so dominate the media coverage for weeks, I believe, that all the other things the administration was trying to do, get the health bill through the Senate, come up with a tax reform plan, and so on, are going to be overshadowed and perhaps delayed because there's only so much media and political oxygen in Washington at any one time. So I will continue to talk about this in the coming days. You may all have opinions about it. Comey was one of the least popular people in Washington. Both Democrats and Republicans were ticked off at him for what he did at various stages of the Hillary probe. That may have made the president feel like he could fire Comey without paying much of a political price. He certainly is paying a big price in the media, and the coverage is loud. Much of it is legitimate, but much of it is just off the rails.